Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Whitetail Rendezvous is pleased to announce a partnership with GoHunt.com. Who's GoHunt.com? Well, if you're a DIY hunter, you need the information at GoHunt.com/insider. Why? Because it provides 4,200 profiles, every unit, every species, and every season. Furthermore, they give in-depth analysis, interactive maps, unit access, and seasonal trends. Draws are very important, and they give you the most accurate information in the business. All this is available when you go to GoHunt.com/insider. Make sure you use promo code WR when you join Insider. You'll get a $50 gift card for GoHunt.com Gear Shop. Remember, when you become a member of GoHunt.com/insider, you're going to get a $50 gift card to Go Hunt Gear Shop. What's in the gear shop? The best gear that you can buy for hunting the West. This gear's been field tested by some of the best, and they know what it can do, what it can't do. You're going to get reviews, and you're going to have a selection that is bar none right at the top of the list. Having said that, once you get your gift card, all you have to do is go to GoHunt.com and go to the first page and click on shop and go have some fun. All in all, if you're hunting out West in 2018, GoHunt.com Insider is where you need to be to get all the research information. When you use promo code WR, Whitetail Rendezvous receives a small commission from GoHunt.com. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host and executive producer, Bruce Hutchin. We're heading out to Nebraska to a good friend, Kevin Paulson. Kevin is the CEO of huntinglife.com. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Hey, you just came back from ATA, and I don't know, are you going out to SHOT Show or Sheep Show? Where's your next show?
I came back from ATA. I've got a week here at home. I got back Sunday night. I'm leaving Saturday morning to head out to Las Vegas for SHOT Show. I'll be out there for an entire week, and I come home for 2 days. I turn around and go right back to Vegas for the SCI show. So Safari Club International's Hunters Convention. So it's a busy time of year for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Just to help the listeners across North America, what does huntinglife.com really do for the hunter?
Yeah, so huntinglife.com is a national news site focused on hunting and conservation all across North America and the world. So we try to work with the entire industry to help spread the message of the new products that are coming out, the new gear that's coming out, the trends that are going on in the industry, is going on in the conservation world, what's going on with like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation or National Wild Turkey Foundation or Ducks Unlimited. We pay attention to the political climate of what's going on in Congress and in our states, and we try to report about all of those things so that people have a resource that they can go to learn what's going on in the hunting industry and what's going on in the hunting world.
Now, how's that different than reading a magazine or, Hunter's News or Outdoor News or, any of these magazines or newspapers that come out and aggregate information and stories and share them with their readership?
Sure. What's different is that huntinglife.com produces on average 15 articles every single day. And those go onto our website live every single day. So we're providing the most new and up-to-date resource we could possibly provide on a daily basis. And we do that year-round, and we've been around for now 11 years. What's different from that versus a magazine that's out there is, a lot of magazines in today's world are dying. We get 80% of our reading, our information, our sources right here from a cell phone. And so Hunting Life produces all of its content where you can get all of your video, your news, and everything right here in your cell phone or on your tablet or on your computer at home. we just learned that Field and Stream is actually dropping the number of issues that they have, and Outdoor Life is doing the same thing over this next year. The magazine and the print industry is dying, and people are expecting all of their news and information to be electronic. And Hunting Life, our goal is to be the largest hunting website that anybody goes to on a yearly basis.
How do you produce 15 articles a day? How does that happen?
Well, we aggregate some content from some of our partners across the entire industry. We were just at ATA, and we were talking to companies and partners all the way through the entire industry. And they help us produce some content. We're working with pro staff from many different hunting companies throughout the United States. And we're working and empowering those pro staff to create content for us. We have a stable of our own writers. We have a few, really tremendous writers coming on staff this year, which I'm not ready to announce, but by the end of SCI, we'll be ready to announce. We'll have at least 2 national writers that I think everybody who watches Whitetail Rendezvous will know exactly who they are. We're excited to bring them on board. We're going to be continuing to acquire new writers throughout 2018. And we're making a tremendous investment in our website. So I think that we're doing everything we can for our community from a technological perspective and from an information gathering perspective. I'm looking for more writers every single day. And so, individuals who are looking to broaden their horizons and step into the hunting world, they can always send me an email at kevin@huntinglife.com, and I ask every single person who comes to me I ask them to do the same thing. I ask them to write me a product review of a piece of gear that they really, really love. And I ask them to write me a story about what inspires them in the hunting world. And those 2 articles are basically like, that's your ticket to, if I like what I read and I think you can actually write, then, I invite people to come on board and, become a writer for huntinglife.com. Every single person, their first year, they have to write 12 articles in their first year. And if they write those 12 articles, I edit them with my team. And, we produce feedback back to them. And at the end of those 12 articles, what we'll do is we'll sponsor them to become a member in a writing organization that's closest to them, whether that's, POMA or a GLOW or CIOPA or the Outdoor Writers Association. We'll pay for that. And so, we want to, develop new writers because I think that's really important.
Now, so I submit everything and you go, man, this stuff is off the charts. Do I get paid?
You can get paid after the first year. Yeah, after the first 12 articles, you can get paid. The first 12 articles for new writers, I do not pay for, but I do pay for the sponsorship into a writing organization. So it's kind of like a trial period.
And folks, if you don't know, POMA, Professional Outdoor Media Association, I belong to that because I have done some writing in the past, and obviously I have a podcast. But there's good organizations out there, and if you're going to be serious about being a writer, being a contributor, bringing content to some sort of medium, then you need to belong to one of those organizations, bar none. Just don't even think about it.
Yeah, I ask people, I invest back in those people, and, I'm investing in coaching and time out of my schedule. I'm really focused on trying to, I want young new writers to come on board. The more, the better, to be honest with you, because it's a win for me, and I know that it's a win for the people that work with me. I've had several writers who are now members of other organizations that they got their start with me, and I'm very proud of that fact. Those young men who were college students when they started with me, and they now work for other organizations in the hunting industry, and I'm very, very proud of them. I'm proud of what they've accomplished, and I know that the work with me helped them get to that place, and so I'm super excited by that fact, and I believe that I create a value for those individuals as a writer, and I believe that those individuals create a value for me in writing great content.
Now, how are you guys different than wide open spaces?
What is very different from wide open spaces and hunting life is that we focus on different things. They focus on writing a different kind of content that we do, and we're much more focused on conservation angle and kind of being more of a news source. I expect that as time goes on, things will change a little bit, and there's lots of differences all the way across the board, but they're a great resource as well.
So, folks, if you have any bent to get into the outdoor business and you feel you can write, and I think everybody can write, it's just you got to have the right mentors and tutors because everybody has ideas and everybody has their own voice. So get a hold of Kevin at huntinglife.com and say, hey, here's something I did. And, what do you think? And go from there, because don't sit and say, man, I'd like to. Just go ahead and do it. That's the best advice I can. Any advice for people that want to, but they just don't have the guts?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I mean, to be honest with you, I built this entire business from nothing, and I didn't know what I was doing. To be honest, when I built Hunting Life, I had the, field of dreams mentality. I tell everybody that, if you build it, they will come. And, I've learned that, running an internet business is a lot more complicated than that, pie in the sky vision of I'm going to go out and build great content and people are going to come to my website. It doesn't quite work that way. You've got to, build great content, but you've also got to promote that content all day long in every facet you possibly can. My advice to anybody is you got to start somewhere and you got to take one step and then another step and then another step. And you got to keep going down that process. Making decisions as quickly as you possibly can on any given day. Just go forth and do it. Sounds like a Nike commercial, but at the end of the day, I wake up every morning and I've got 100 things to do, and I start doing one, and I do that one really, really well, and then I do the next one, and I just keep going. Some days I get 15 items on my to-do list done. Some days I get 2. You just got to keep moving forward every single day.
Thanks for sharing that. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's talk about your hunting tradition. I know you love to hunt, and so where did the desire to hunt come from?
My desire to hunt really came from my father. And so, when I was 5 years old, I was in this little town called Levining, California. Is on the eastern side of California, the Sierras, kind of the gateway to Yosemite. And I went on a duck hunt with my dad near this little lake called Mono Lake. And then I went out on a mule deer hunt with him. And, I got to walk in his footprints. At 5 years old, it was like my goal was to step in his footprints every time he stepped forward, and we saw antelope and we saw mule deer, and I was obsessed, and I've been obsessed ever since. So that's kind of a part of my my hunting tradition. Now all 3 of my kids, 3 of my 5 kids have gotten to experience hunting, and they have each taken a deer. And one of my daughters has taken a turkey, and I've got 2 more kids to slowly introduce to hunting.
Now, I know you got married just a couple of years ago, and did your wife hunt previously to get you married, or is this something new?
No, Marjorie got introduced to hunting through me, but Marjorie and I have a very strong drive for really high quality food. And so when, Marjorie and I started dating, we had this passion for cooking and culinary arts and, a passion for, really great ingredients to put on our plate and to cook. And so, she came to hunting with the realization that in order to put ducks and geese and pheasant and venison on her plate, she had to go out and learn how to hunt it. And so, that's how she got involved in it. Now she's always been involved in the outdoors. She loves to run when we first met. She loved to backpack and be in the outdoors, camping and all of those things. So hunting was a, natural progression for her, and she loves it. This is actually the first year in the last 5 that she hasn't killed a whitetail.
So how is it for a husband and wife to go hunting? I've heard horror stories because guys love to be in charge, and we get really stupid. At least I have in the past when I tried to take my wife out hunting. So how has it worked so well for you?
I think for me and my perspective, I've taken a lot of hunters out hunting, and I've started mentoring in my early 20s. So I've been mentoring and guiding people most of my life. And so for me, I understand that when I'm guiding somebody, I've got to slow myself down and go at the pace of the individual who I'm guiding. And so for Marjorie and this is true for taking any wife out hunting or any kid out hunting, you have to make it enjoyable for them, and you have to understand what it is that they're looking for in an experience. And so, for Marjorie, I know that getting out into a place that's beautiful country, and getting to watch the sun come up and getting to experience that and getting to pay attention to everything from the squirrel climbing up on the tree to the birds flying overhead, or the gobble of a turkey off in the distance. Those are all things that we pay attention to and are very attuned to, and I focus on that when I'm with her. And so that makes it much more enjoyable for her. I'm pointing these things out. And the other thing is, if you take your wife or your kids out, part of your goal is to make sure that they're comfortable. And so, I made sure that Marjorie had the best gear. I have her outfitted in the Pro is women's line of clothing. So she has a set of Pro is pants, and she has, she has a full layering system on, and she has a Pro is jacket, and she's warm and comfortable. And that makes her experience in the outdoors much more enjoyable for her. A lot of the hunting that Marjorie and I are doing in the area that we're hunting, we're not just sitting in a blind. We're up and we're moving, and we're doing a lot of spot and stalk. And so I don't know, for Marjorie and I, that works for us because she really loves to backpack and hike. And so we spend a lot of time on foot hiking, in and around canyons. And it's a tremendous amount of fun.
Sounds like you get a good partner there. Say, when you're out chasing mule deer, what kind of glass do you use?
I use a wide variety of glass because I'm constantly testing new optics on any given hunt. So, guys ask me like, well, what's your favorite pair of binoculars? And to be honest with you, the answer changes on any given month. Right now, I think I actually have. Actually, I do have. Right this moment, I'm actually using Steiners. And the reason I'm using these is because this is what I've been testing the last month. These are the Steiner HX 10x56 binoculars. They kind of have the eye cups on them. They're a very heavy set of glass. So this is not probably what I would necessarily recommend for, quick and dirty spot and stalk archery hunts. But if you're sitting on the edge of a canyon wall and you're glassing long distances for extended periods of time, this glass is just absolutely fantastic. And I think they're at a price point around $1,000. So not necessarily the most expensive on the market, but not the cheapest. I like binoculars from, the Vanguard line. The Vortex line is excellent in kind of the lower range of binoculars. Mid-range binoculars, the Steiners or the Burris binoculars are fantastic, all the way up to, the Leica and the Zeiss and the Swarovskis. I will say that I think the binoculars are very, very much a personal preference, and you really need to look at a lot of different binoculars. I have stood with 3 different people and grabbed the most expensive pair of binoculars up off of the counter. And all 3 of us as individuals saw something different through those binoculars. Some binoculars work for some people and some binoculars do not work for some people. And so as an as an individual, if your buddies are all saying, you should buy Vortex, if they don't fit to your eyes, if you don't feel great with that pair of binoculars in your hands and your eyes aren't really picking out shapes with crystal clarity, don't buy them. Go try a different pair. Some people, just need different things for different packages, different people.
So you're out western Nebraska, and you do have your favorite glass. How do you use them?
How do I use them as far as how I use them
for hunting?
So so for hunting. So I spend when I pull into the ranch, basically, I have three basic high spots on the ranch that I hunt that I pull up into, and then basically I walk up onto these high spots and I pick apart an entire area. And so my goal with a set of optics and a spotting scope is to grid search where the deer are. If it's first thing in the morning, I'm watching the deer walk off the top of the plateaus and they're dropping into canyons. And I'm basically watching them to figure out where specifically, I know generally where their bedding areas are. And so I'm kind of like watching to figure out which bedding area they're going to go to. And then I'm watching which way the wind is blowing so that I can figure out how to come back and go, come in over top of them, basically. Now, if I just pull into to an area mid-afternoon and I don't know that area, I don't know, what's on the side of that mountain, basically, I'm basically grid searching an entire area. So, I'm going to search up in the high section up here. I'm going to move down a little bit. I'm going to grid search with the binoculars. I'm going to come down a little bit further. I'm going to grid search. I'm going to come down. I'm going to grid search. Come down, grid search, and then I just continue to move my way across the mountain. And I basically just do that, in a very, I do it in a very fast way, and then I go back and any section that I feel like has real potential, I'll go back and break that down even further.
Now,
for mule deer.
When mule deer are in CRP or whitetails for that matter, sometimes the only thing you see is a flick of a ear or, the horns glint off the sun because they're resting. They're really not doing anything. Every once in a while, one may get up, but for the most part, you're looking for pieces. How do you find them?
Yeah, I'm looking for shapes or movement as much as humanly possible, and I'm just looking for certain things that are out of the ordinary. Over time, you tend to know basically, where you think an animal may or may not be, and it's a little bit of intuition. So for me, it's just a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit of intuition. I'm always looking for that deer, that little ear flick, because sometimes you'll see that more often than not. It's one of the reasons I love hunting mule deer.
To date, are you hunting for meat or are you hunting for bone?
I hunt for both at all times. So the ranch that I hunt currently is in an area that is available for me to purchase mule deer doe tags or whitetail doe tags. And so I purchased doe tags because the rancher can only afford to feed so many deer on a given year. And he currently has an overpopulation of does on his property. I can only fit so many in my freezer. So I fill my freezer basically with doe meat, and then I focus on really, really big deer the rest of the year. I passed up this year. This year I did not shoot a buck. I shot mule deer does, and I shot a whitetail doe, and I did not shoot a buck this year at all. And I'm okay with that because I'm big or empty. I passed up 150 bucks, whether they were whitetail or mule deer bucks. I had both a mule deer buck tag and a whitetail buck tag in Nebraska, and I did not shoot either. I did not shoot a buck at all.
Just because they were too small?
Yeah, I just did not see one that was representative of really what I wanted to shoot, and I did miss one. So I did miss, I missed a good deer in rifle season for mule deer.
Now, how about your wife? Does she hunt for food and she'll shoot those also?
Yeah, she actually as of this point, she has only purchased dog permits. She's a teacher, and during the rifle season, and it is very hard for her to get off. And so um, we hunt together kind of during the Christmas break, and that's kind of the antlerless season. And so she has not had the opportunity to go to shoot a buck yet, but she's perfectly happy to shoot the Mildred doe or a whitetail doe.
Let's stop right there. How did you teach her how to shoot, either a bow or a rifle?
Well, first I didn't. I actually put her with another shooting camp, and I let somebody else teach her that part. So she's pretty natural as a shot. And she did start shooting with me, but her initial interaction with shooting was actually with a different instructor.
Would you recommend that to other husbands or boyfriends that let somebody else, get their partner, schooled up, if you will?
In certain cases, yes. If you have somebody local who, is an expert or is a great instructor, sometimes it really is, a smart path to allow somebody else to do that teaching. I find that women listen incredibly well, and in fact, I think as a guide, I always liked guiding women, much more than I liked guiding men, specifically because they really listened and they really wanted to be successful. Marjorie really wants to be successful, and she wants to make a shot that is an ethical, clean shot as quickly as possible. And so if I say, okay, we're going to come around this corner, I'm going to put you on the sticks and immediately, pull up and put the crosshair on the, on the shoulder and pull the trigger, she listens to that. And so when we come around the corner, she's prepared. Now, with my friends, when we go hunting and I say, here's what I want you to do, they don't always listen. Their mindset is, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's a lot different than, my relationship with my wife or for that matter, any other woman that I've ever guided. I have several friends that I've hunted with over the years, and it's really noticeable to me. Like when I go out with my guy friends and we go hunting, and I say, "Dude, I want you in my hip pocket. Like we're gonna, I need you to follow me." All of a sudden they're 20 yards to my right, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like get behind me and let's go together, over this hillside." And invariably throughout the day, they're constantly like trying to go on their own path. So it's something I've just kind of noticed as a guide for years and years. Women do a much better job of listening.
And I would support that. Back in the day when I was doing some fly fishing and guiding, I'd love to take women out, get them on the stream because they knew nothing about fly fishing. They wanted to do it. It looked fun, yada, yada, yada. And all you do is say, try this, real simple stuff, nothing difficult at all. And they'd actually do it. And guess what? They'd outfish the men. Yeah. They'd outfish their husband.
Women are dramatically better shooters than men all the way across the board. I've rarely had a situation where a woman couldn't outshoot a man in just about every situation I've ever been in. Sometimes in shotgun, you'll see a guy who's got a lot of experience and he'll outshoot, a woman right there. But with a little bit of instruction, there's almost no question that women are just tremendously better shooters all the way across the board.
We're going to segue now into the hunting industry. I know you're going to SHOT Show and you've been to ATA and you've been in the business, 15 years now? Is it 15 years for hunting life?
Yeah, no, it's getting to be right out 15 years of when I bought my outfitting business, several years of that, and this is my 12th year of owning huntinglife.com.
So let's talk about the changes and the challenges ahead for the hunting industry, the outdoor industry.
Yeah, I think that the industry is changing dramatically, and the world is changing dramatically. We see the growth of Amazon.com and the growth of the online world, and guys can purchase anything they want online, and I think that's dramatically going to change and affect the outdoor industry. I think that the local mom and pop sporting goods store that used to be in every little town is no longer there, and that's kind of sad to me. I grew up in a little town that had 600-700 people in it. Bell's Sporting Goods in Lee Vining, and that store's no longer there. So it's it's a dramatically different world. We were just I just walked out of ATA, and the manufacturers there, they're like, traffic is down this year, and I like, guys, as an industry, traffic is going to be down every year because there's going to be less and less sporting goods stores that are going to be out there, and so the industry has got to learn how to adapt to that. They've got to, they're going to have to pay attention to it.
And I think there are. You mentioned something about ozonics changing up. I don't know if they've announced that yet or if they did it at ATA, but I think that's noteworthy as a major, leader in ozone, scent control, if you want to call it that. I think that's a good name for it because it just eliminates the scent.
Yeah.
And so what's that announcement again?
Yeah, so Ozonics is going to a direct-to-consumer model. There are several companies within the industry that have a direct-to-consumer model. That means basically that if you want to buy their product, you have to go directly to their company. So you're going to go like Kuiu as an example, where you can buy the Kuiu clothing directly from Kuiu.com. And Ozonics, you're going to have to go to the Ozonics website in order to buy Ozonics. Where you used to be able to purchase it at Cabela's and Bass Pro and every mom and pop sporting goods store in America. The problem with that is that there is a markup to taking a manufactured product and putting it into a distributor, and the distributor putting it into retail stores across North America, and the consumer has to pay for that. And so a direct-to-consumer model can really, bring about a lower priced product for the consumer and a higher profit margin for the manufacturer. And so I think that over the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of companies that are going to consider that process. So Ozonics was not at ATA this year because, if you only go to ATA basically to be able to advertise and put your product into an archery store, and because it's not a consumer show. And so, they weren't at ATA. And, I know that Kuiu does not show up at SHOT Show, or they don't show up at ATA. And they're at the consumer shows because they're going direct to consumer. And ProIs is another company that's, ProIs.com. It's women's clothing line. They're another company that does direct to consumer, and they do a very good job of it.
So Kirsty Pike, CEO of ProIs, here's a shout out for you. And she changed her marketing plan a few years back. I don't know exactly when she changed it, but she saw this trend coming. And, that's a beautiful American story, lady entrepreneur that grew from nothing, just like you, Kevin, just started, with an idea and has built one of the foremost women apparel companies in the outdoors in the country.
Absolutely. Yeah, she has a tremendous success story. And I've never met a woman who wears her clothing line that is unhappy with the quality and the cut and the feel and the warmth of the gear that they get from that, from that company. So, she has a tremendous following of people. It's a great family, and I am super happy to see her having success with her line, and I'm super happy to introduce women to her clothing line because I know that those women are comfortable and they're warm and they have enough gear with them to where they can last the entire day hunting with me. So it's a win all the way across the board. It's a great line. And, the direct-to-consumer model keeps the prices down for those women to purchase that gear. If Kirsty had to put her product into Cabela's or Shields or Bass Pro, some of those clothing items would cost twice as much, and that's just not effective.
Yep. So again, shout out for Proas Hunting Apparel, Kirsty Pike, and just reach out to them on any sort of social media and try it out, ladies, because you will not be disappointed, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So what else
So
has
I think
happened
that
in the hunting industry?
I think we're continuing to see some. We've got a downturn right now in kind of like the shooting world because it's we've got a Republican president, and so we've seen there's no fear in the industry. So I think that the overall sales were down in 2017 from archery to hunting to the gun world. I mean, sales I think were down all across the entire industry. But that being said, there's tremendous amounts of innovation this year. We've seen some great new products come into the market. Garmin had a brand new rangefinder that was set up to where basically once you zeroed it in, it had a red dot sight for a bow, and no matter what you were aimed at, it would adjust your sight for you. It was a laser rangefinder built into it, and I don't know how many states will legalize that, but it's an innovative product. We saw some great new arrows and nocks and things like that at ATA. There were several new bows from the new Bowtech Realm to the Matthews Triax and the G5 bow. There's some great new. Hoyt has a new bow this year. Everybody has a new bow this year, and there's some great technology out there. Raven is continuing to be the biggest success story in the entire archery industry with their crossbows. They launched 3 new models this year, including a full-scale what they call a sniper package that was just absolutely fantastic with a higher level scope and a very impressive setup. Probably the product of the show that everybody was kind of talking about at ATA was the new ProWiz blind that you could see through it. In fact, if you go to the facebook.com/hunting life, there is a video of me sitting in the see-through blind from ProWiz. It's their new double bull see-through blind, and you could see through the walls, and it was like literally like looking right through a window. It was unbelievable, and we took the camera and I shoved it through the window, and I had my partner film back into the blind, and you could not see me in the blind. I'm really excited to get that out for testing because I really want to see how that works at sunset and at sunset and sunrise. When it you get that orange sun right there, and does it really does it change how you can see out that window? But I think that product is incredibly innovative, and I really, really like the idea of it because, sitting in a blind, you're always sitting there going, what can I not see? And honestly, with this blind, I was blown away, and I think everybody really was. So, that technology of that netting or whatever it is that they're creating, and I think you'll see that technology in several new blinds over the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, sounds interesting. That's for sure. So here we are. We got a Republican president, so people have the guns that they need. They're not in fear of that. We've got some changes from, the retail model to the direct model. What do you think the people like Realtree or Lacrosse Boots or Sitka or to name some of the giants in our industry that sell through retailers? That's how they sell their product. What are they going to do?
Well, I think that they're going to continue to have success. I mean, I don't think people are walking away from retailers per se at this point. I think that my personal opinion is I think that Amazon's going to continue to erode away at, they're going to continue to take business away from the outdoor industry as a whole. The mom and pop sporting good dealers. I think that Cabela's and Bass Pro are going to continue to grow. I'm really interested to see the relaunch of Gander Outdoors. Marcus Lamona's bought Gander Mountain. And so, now it's going to be called Gander Outdoors, and they're going to relaunch here in June or July. I'm really interested to see what their format's going to bring. I think that Shields is doing an absolutely amazing job in their stores and creating a real retail buying experience. And so I'm continually impressed by the level of customer service that they can provide. Academy Sports is doing, great. Dick's is doing great. I think they have more stores now than any other retailer in North America. Walmart is continuing to sell outdoor gear and doing, quite well with that. But I do see a world where basically, it's ripe for some really big online players to come into the market and be successful. I don't think anybody at this current point is really dominating the market from a retail perspective. And so, in that world, as a manufacturer, as a consultant to a manufacturer, I would tell every single one of them you need to be in all places that you possibly can. If you want to be in the retail market, and you're gonna go out there and play that game, and you gotta learn how to promote yourself and become a brand worthy of it. Example, Sitka's a company that's doing it, everything the right way. They're donating money to the conservation programs across North America. They're supporting every conservation organization that's out there. They've helped start the 2% for Conservation program. So they force their own staff members to volunteer for conservation organizations, as well as they donate 1% of their total revenue or profit to conservation organizations. And they're donating, I'm sure, a tremendous amount more than that. They've got the Sitka Films program, which is fantastic, and it's innovating and pushing outdoor artists to produce, some amazing films and some amazing, content out there. They have the Diverge Photo program, which is, probably one of the best photo contests in the outdoor industry. And they're, doing a tremendous job of promoting themselves on social media. I think that's what companies are going to need to do to be successful. It is more complicated today than it was 10 years ago before Facebook and before social media was, really a big thing. But I think the opportunities for companies to do it well is tremendous. And I think companies really need to pay attention to, what's going on. And, they need to hire the right consultants and the right team members to, guide them through the process to make sure that they make the right decisions as they go forward. I think that we're also going to see a lot of companies go under over the next, 5 to 10 years. And we're going to see a lot of companies get bought up by bigger companies. So, I think overall the industry is changing. I never say that it's a bad thing, though. It's just change. I mean, that's just the reality of the world we live in. Things are going to be changing. They're not the same as they were when I was 10 years old. They're not going to be the same when I'm 60. And, you got to be aware of that and go with the flow.
That's for sure. And listeners, Kevin just gave you a bunch of reasons if you want to get in this industry where you should think about. And he told you about Sitka Gear is a perfect example of that. So study them. Not that everybody should apply for a job at Sitka Gear, but everybody's going to need similar talents that did not exist 5 to 10 years ago. Guaranteed. The talents that are needed today did not exist 5 or 10 years. So what does that mean to you? Well, if you're an outdoor person and kind of want to hang with outdoor people and be in that industry, then figure out your niche and then go apply yourself and find the need for that with XYZ company and then go to work. I don't know.
I see a tremendous number of people, my age and above, who are constantly, bashing the millennials on a daily basis. It's the kids and the youth of today. They're bashing them, and like I don't know. Today it's the Tide Pod challenge. It's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. But millennials today, they have technology at their fingertips. I mean, these kids today are taking a cell phone, and some of them are running full-on entire businesses all the way through. It's just tremendous what some of these kids are able to do. And, if I was a college student today, I'd want to be taking, journalism courses, business courses, analytics courses, because you've got a degree in business management, but you had some knowledge of journalism, knowledge of social media and the things that are going on with that, so a real understanding of analytics and statistics, you could be tremendously successful in this world. I talked to some companies this week and I asked them about what their social media numbers were and what their statistics were, and they had no idea. And I was like, how could you not know that? how do you not know? Like, that's where all your customers are.
Wow.
But they didn't know, and that's, those are companies that, may not be here 3 years from now. But the companies that do understand it and that do get it, they're going to continue to dominate. I don't think anybody's dominating right now, though. I really don't.
Yeah.
Especially from the retail side.
And I'm trying to think. I get a lot of gear, and I don't buy any gear in the store. I haven't for years. That was before I, had my podcast and so forth and so on. I just didn't. I used eBay quite a bit, and then I used my connections, with Vortex or Excalibur or whomever, to get my stuff. Plus, over the years, I've collected a lot of stuff. My wife says, you don't have room in your closet.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a unique situation because I don't buy a lot of gear, but my role is to test gear on a daily basis. So gear is arriving here all the time. It's like literally there are boxes laying over here that are just not even opened yet. I have a Auto Wild grill that's sitting here that hasn't even been installed yet. We've got brand new pairs of boots from Loa and Crispy to test this week. I'm going to be wearing, I'll be wearing Crispy boots at SHOT Show all week long on the show floor, or Loa's. I'll probably rotate back and forth between the two to kind of test them against each other. Because I walk 14 miles a day, each day at SHOT Show, so I just know from, experience that I'm going to, I'm going to burn up my feet, and I want to think, well, that's a great place to test boots. I still do buy some gear from my local retailers. I have a Cabela's and a Bass Pro and a Shields and a Dick's all within 55 miles of my house. The Bass Pro being the furthest. I think Cabela's is about 45 miles in La Vista, which is Omaha. I have a Shields right here in Lincoln, and they're actually building one that's like twice as big. Here, we just got a brand new Dick's. I still buy things at Shields. I buy all my ammo from local stores, by all means. I do, FFL transfers with a local gun dealer. So, I'm in and out of outdoor stores on a pretty regular basis. I think that the important things for stores to really focus on is making sure that the staff that they put in those stores are highly educated and they make it, an enjoyable, experience. I was just in an outdoor retailer outside of Indianapolis when we were there for ATA, and I got there a day earlier, and we went into a bunch of retailers, and I was actually looking for a specific pair of shoes to wear for ATA, and I forgot to bring a pair of boots with me, and I just needed a replacement pair of shoes. So we went to Duluth Trading Company, and that's where I ended up buying the pair of shoes that I wanted, was from Duluth. And they were great, and their customer service was literally over the top. It was the best experience in a retail store I've had in years. They had a lot of staff around the place. I think there were 5 or 6 people on the floor that could help me. It's not a tremendously large store, but it's very well laid out. And in each section, they had individuals that could help you. They asked, I was able to ask each person questions. I think I had talked to 5 different staff members while I was there in the store. Every one of them was polite and enjoyable to be around. The store was clean. It was just a great experience. I went into another large retailer. We went into two other large retailers there. One of them was just, average. I walked in, it was fine. The staff was there if I had a question, but it wasn't, it wasn't overly great or it wasn't overly bad. But we walked into another retailer and their customer service was miserable. And you could tell, like, I walked up to a wall of hunting packs and it was jumbled and disorganized and horrible. And you could see I was agonizing over, like, looking at these different packs. I couldn't find what I was looking for, really. And three different sales associates walked right by me and not a single one asked me if I was interested in getting any help. I walked over to the shoe department, and as I'm kind of going through the shoe department, I had to go find a sales associate to help me. And then the response that I got was, well, that shoe's on the floor. It wasn't, well, let me take you to that location and help you. And so when you have a bad buying experience like that, it makes it hard to go back into one of those, back into that same store. And, retailers had better learn really quickly that customer service means everything in today's world. And people may or may not buy product in the store, but your reputation is made when the customer is inside your store. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not holding this particular retail store, hostage. I'm not even going to mention them because it's not. It wouldn't necessarily be fair. It may have just been a bad day at that particular store. But I do know that I did not have a great experience. And too many times of me not having a great experience in a given store, I won't go back. And I think that's true of most consumers today.
There's no question. I don't care if you're buying a car, having a hamburger down the street, going to a bank. It doesn't matter. It's customer service that we expect these days because we're paying a lot of money for what we're spending, and just give me a little help and make it a positive experience. That's the word I like to use when I'm talking to my grandson. He's working in a restaurant, first job. I said, just make it a good experience for whoever you come in contact with, because everybody has a bad day, either staff or a client. Just smile at them. Say, how can I help you?
Absolutely.
And it goes such a long way. Well, Kevin, this has been interesting. We've been around the block. We've hunted some mule deer. We've talked about ATA. We talked about huntinglife.com. And why don't you one more time tell people how they can find you on the web?
Yeah, you can find us at huntinglife.com, of course. We have huntinglife.com and huntinginsider.com. Those are both of our websites. We have a live show that goes live once a week at gravy.live/show/huntinglife. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google+. Search at Hunting Life. And we're pretty much across all platforms with, at Hunting Life. So we have a fan page that's got about 265,000 people, and we encourage every single person to go to our Facebook fan page and submit their picture to us, and we'll share it up to the entire world with your hunting trophy photo. And I don't care, like I said, whether it's a big deer or it's a forked horn or it's a doe, we'll share it because we care about all hunters. You shoot a squirrel, you got a great picture of it, send it to us. We want it up. Twitter is kind of our news feed. We really focus on promoting the stories that are on our website. And, we share out as many, news articles as we possibly can that I feel that, hunters are going to want to pay attention to. Instagram is something we're kind of new to, and we're kind of, really trying to, again, share those stories. And we're slowly learning about Instagram and what the best way to reach hunters is with that platform.
Well, on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America, Kevin Paulson, huntinglife.com. It's just been a pleasure, and I can't wait till, we connect again and we can, I can buy you a beer.
Well, hopefully this fall we'll get a chance to go hunt together.
Yeah, I look forward to that. So, Kevin, thank you again.
You got it, man.
On the next episode, we're heading down south, and we're going to connect with Wes of Portland, outdoors. Who's Portland Outdoors was a group of 3 guys that decided they loved the outdoors so much they wanted to get into the business, and they did it big time. They've got a product called Top Secret Deer Sense. It's unique because it's oxygen free from collection to the bottle. Scent defense, hey, use this every time you go out. And we're talking about on the show about putting on your boots, and it's some interesting thoughts there. They have a natural bug repellent. And fourth, they have a fog zero. So anytime you go from different temperatures, things change. Your glasses, your shooting glasses, binoculars, they're all going to be fog free. Even more than that, Wes is just one heck of a fun guy. He loves hunting. He loves taking his kids out hunting and showing them the benefits of the outdoors.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.